How do you start your morning? Ed Gein would rise from bed, draw his blinds from a pull cord made from interlinking sets of human lips, and turn on his custom bedside lamp made from tanned human skin. He'd then settle into one of his dining room chairs fashioned from the skin of a fresh cadaver he dug up from the local cemetery and pour some cornflakes into his favorite bowl, carved from the top of a human skull. Yeah, you don't become the inspiration for Buffalo Bill, Norman Bates, and Leatherface by having traditional tastes in fashion and home decor. Ed Gein was born on August 27, 1906. Raised in Plainfield, Wisconsin, his mother was fanatically religious, often reading aloud from the book of Revelation. Is it just me? Or did everyone in this twisted family go on to inspire a horror flick or two?
First sin was intercourse.
Say it!
Ed's father, George, was a pretty typical serial killer father figure. A timid alcoholic, he was no match for his domineering wife.
The Gein household became a sort of breeding ground for psychopathology, completely under the sway of this woman.
Ed's father, or submissive male number one, as his wife called him, died in 1940, passing the role of submissive male number 1 and 2 to Ed and Henry. One evening in 1944, the brothers found themselves in the middle of a brush fire. In the midst of all the commotion, Ed lost track of Henry.
He went for the police, and though he told them he didn't know where Henry was, he was able to lead them straight to his brother's dead body.
I've heard rumors that there were bruises on Henry's head.
Yeah, apparently the fire was so vicious that it beat him to death with a hammer. Like, I knew fire was dangerous, but fucking hell. Burn! Shortly after the accidental passing of his brother, Ed's mother had a stroke and dropped dead, leaving Ed all alone in the isolated farmhouse. Now this is where things start to get a little bit strange. As an introvert living in complete isolation, Ed faced a conundrum. How was he supposed to make friends? Suddenly, he had an idea. There was a ton of people just up the road in Plainview Cemetery. Sure, they were dead, but I mean, Ed, he wasn't a big talker anyway.
Ed would find out where the burial was going to be, and as quickly as he could get there, he would go and get that body.
So I know what you're thinking. Did he have like zombie dinner parties or something? Yeah, kinda, but he was more into dress up.
There was what the police called a mammary vest, the upper torso of a woman that Gein had attached straps to. And there were leggings that had been made from the skin of a woman's legs.
And as if that wasn't fucked up enough, he pretty much reupholstered all of his furniture with human skin. Soon, his entire house looked like a Body Worlds exhibit. When it came to fashion and furniture, Ed was a bit of a perfectionist. How could he be expected to create his masterpieces with decaying and rotting flesh?
I can't work like this.
Did Louis Vuitton use imitation leather to create his luxury handbags? Did Coco Chanel rely on second-rate fabrics to make an impression on the catwalk? No. He soon realized that he was going to need materials that were a little more fresh. Ed Gein's first living victim was 51-year-old divorcee and the owner of a local tavern in Pine Grove. In casual conversation, a local resident actually asked Ed directly about the case.
Somebody said, well, I wonder where Mary Hogan is. And they just could not find her to go to heck for it.
Ed replied that it was a damn shame. No, just kidding. He just said flat out, she isn't missing. She's at the farm right now. Unfortunately, the local resident just chopped it up to the innocent ramblings of a disturbed mind.
Everybody said, oh, yeah, Eddie, you got her. Yeah, we know Eddie, yeah.
The case went cold. 3 years later, Gein shot and killed Bernice in her hardware store in Plainfield. He left, taking her body and the cash register with him. Oh, so he took the cash register to make it look like a robbery, right? No. He claimed he just wanted to see how it worked. You gotta think for a second about what that means. It's you just committed a murder and your mind goes to, hey, I wonder how this cash register works. There's a dead body laying right there. And he's thinking about the cash register. It's Fucked up. Anyway, Bernice's son, Frank, called the sheriff and told him that Ed Gein had stopped by the shop the night before looking for antifreeze and said he'd be back the next morning. Frank said that Gein also asked him if he was going to be around the next day. You know, just casual conversation. Hey, let me ask you, does your mother, does she work alone? Hypothetically, could one person lift her into the back of a pickup truck? Do you happen to know what her measurements are? You know, just standard chit-chat. Suspicious, obviously, the police descended upon Ed's isolated farmhouse, but they had absolutely no idea that what they were about to find would make front-page news all around the country. To many of us, being the inspiration for a film would be a dream come true. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Just like you and me, Ed also dreamed of inspiring a generation. Only instead of being the inspiration for films like Gandhi,
If we obtain our freedom by murder and bloodshed, I want no part of it.
Rocky,
You idiot! I did it!
Schindler's List,
There's been 2 people.
Braveheart,
They'll never take our freedom!
to Rudy. Writers and directors were interested in Ed's story for other reasons. Oh yeah, old Ed inspired a few films, all right. He was the inspiration for this. And this. Yeah, and this too. That's right. Ed Gein may very well be the most influential killer in horror movie history. Well, that's enough about Ed's Hollywood star power. He wasn't home when the police came knocking, but they noticed that the door to the woodshed was ajar and decided to investigate further.
Stinks like sex in here.
Inside, they found the headless body of Bernice suspended upside down from the rafters. She had been cut open and dressed like a deer.
Ed Gein was taken into custody that night.
Authorities prepared to search his farmhouse. As if things couldn't get creepier, there was no electricity at Ed's home, so the police had to search with oil lamps and lanterns and flashlights. Inside, they found, well, I guess what you'd expect to find in the home of someone who inspired 3 of the most terrifying killers in modern film history.
Some of the discoveries police would make defied comprehension.
Yeah, and not just like 1 or 2 skulls laying around. This guy had more body parts than Jeff Dahmer could eat in 2 lifetimes. Don't believe me? This is what they found. Yeah, you can pause it if you want. Whew. I guess they didn't call him the Plainfield Ghoul for nothing.
All told, Gein would confess to only 2 killings.
Yeah, but the cops had no idea he made roughly 40 nocturnal visits to 3 local graveyards from 1947 to 52. So they were just like, you're telling us you only killed 2 people? Bullshit. We've seen your extensive jewelry and furniture collection. Who else did you kill? So Ed's just like, guys, relax, cool your jets. Aside from that headless body hanging up in my woodshed and that face you found in that burlap sack in my kitchen, I was just digging up corpses and recycling. It's not like I'm a monster or something. Oh, and to top things off, the police made one more disturbing discovery. Although Ed's entire home was covered in layers of filth and clutter, one room in particular stood out from the rest. Behind a boarded up door, the police uncovered Ed's mother's room, perfectly preserved down to the last detail.
The bed was made. There was a table, night table, had a Bible on it, and that was his shrine to his mother.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Norman Bates. In 1968, Ed Gein was found guilty but legally insane of the murder of Bernice and was committed to Waupun State Hospital for the rest of his life. He died of cancer in Madison, Wisconsin on July 26, 1984. He was buried in Plainfield next to the graves of his family. Although no one really knows for certain if his family's remains are actually there or if Ed dug them up and made them into furniture back in the 50s. A tragic story, no doubt. But hey, at least we got some amazing films out of that sick son of a bitch.
Just one more thing. Love your suit.
So, what do you think? Was Ed actually crazy, or did he just have an eccentric side like any artist? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to murder that subscribe button because we have new content dropping all the time. And if you just can't get enough, you can also hop over and follow us on Instagram and TikTok for even more killer content.